Is it possible to transform a wrecked Royal Enfield Himalayan adventure bike into a fully fledged motocross machine capable of conquering the world famous Weston Beach Race? That's the question we are trying to answer, and we've made some good progress so far, but we've got a long way to go to get ready for this. We've set ambitious goals, and the rules for the build are strict, but we've got our game plan, which is now seeming a bit oversimplified, although we do know where we need to make improvements. It is an ambitious project, and the clock is ticking, but it's all part of the fun and games, right? In the last episode, you watched us tear down the bike as we desperately tried to shed weight. We got rid of the parts we don't need and received delivery of the parts that should hopefully make life on the beach a bit easier. We are still a long way from saying that we transformed this Himi into a fully fledged motocross bike, but it is slowly taking shape. And that's despite some problems raising their heads as we left the workshop at the end of the last episode. As always, the clock is ticking. Let's get to work.
So here we are, day 3 in the workshop on the build for the Himalayan. Max isn't with me today. He's busy editing the film that you've probably already watched. So in between, I've done a few little bits on the bike. So basically, I've changed the throttle to a quick action. So I've used the RM250 throttle and cable, but I had to make up my own cable because, you know, it's not a generic thing. It's completely different. The way it fits into the throttle body. I had to use the old bit of the Royal Enfield throttle and then basically made one up. So I made a cable up. You can get like nipples that you can solder on. I use brass ones because they're a lot easier to solder. And then what you tend to do is, this is how I do it. So that's a 15mm copper stop for a bit of copper pipe. And what I do is heat it up, fill it with solder, and then when the nipple's on the cable, just dip it in and then quench it in some water, and it's soldered on. And it's the best way of doing it because you ain't got to mess about with the soldering iron and heat and burn the cable. It's ideal, that is. So then it'll give you a quick action throttle. Look at that, which I'm quite pleased with. Changed the starter, so we've got a normal start button, and also I deleted the switch on the clutch, so you don't have to pull a clutch in to start it. That's pretty much it. Tidied up a bit of the wiring at the front, and that's where I'm at. So today we're going to crack on and get some more of the build done and try and get it looking how we're going to ride it basically, which is a bit of a task, but I'm pretty sure I can master it.
In the last episode, we discussed tank options and we concluded that the only way to go was to stick with the OG tank. But that would mean that our build wouldn't really look like an MX bike.
I don't know, I just weren't happy with that. I don't think it'll look right, do you know what I mean? The look I'm after. So I've come up with a different plan. Maybe it's going to work, I don't know, but this is the tank that I'm going to use. Like something like that. I mean, obviously it's going to, you know, fabricate and fit and try and get a seat to marry up to it and stuff. But that's the kind of style I'm going for. I mean, I know Max said, you know, you've got to make it look like a motocross bike, but I'm going to make it look like a scrambler. And I think that's the best thing I can do with this 1950s scrambler that somebody's built in their shed.
This is a big project with lots of work to do and lots of parts to gather. Luckily for us, we've had some help from great companies like Tech Bike Parts and Hitchcock Motorcycles.
So first job of the day is get these pivot foot pegs on that have kindly been supplied by Hitchcock Motorcycles. I mean, this is how cool they are. They didn't have a set, so they took them off a demo bike and sent them to us just so we've got some decent foot pegs that's going to grip the boot and obviously wider than stock. And make it a whole lot better for me to when I ride it. The biggest problem is it's fuel injected, so it's going to need a fuel pump. There's no way I can get an internal fuel pump into that tank. It's pretty much impossible. So we're going for an external one, and then got to try and mount it somewhere. So there's a few options. It's difficult. I mean, it's just going to be a trial and error, but I'm going to try and mount that in there somewhere, the pump. Obviously we've got to run a filter, and this is the smallest stuff I could get, like externally. You can't really get anything any smaller. I'm going to try and mount that there, so we're coming from the tank. Got a fitting to go on the tank, from there to the filter, from the filter to the pump, and then if we go around the other side, somehow make the fuel line run into the outlet there, so it runs into the injector. But it's there's going to be a lot of thinking, a lot of stuff going on to try and get it there, and then we've got to see if it works, because I don't know if it's going to work yet. I mean, it runs 3 bar, and that's what the original pump is, so yeah, and fingers crossed it might. Well, yeah, no, it will. I'm sure it will. I hope it will. Right, so the first thing I've got to do really is sort out where I'm going to mount the tank, or have an idea where I'm going to mount it before I start like plumbing in with the fuel pump and the filter, like what I've just explained. Because there's no point doing the fuel filter first and then the tank's got to move, or vice versa. So I think the main thing I've got to do is get that tank mounted where I need it, where I want it, try and marry it with the seat somehow, and then I'll work on the fuel pump where I'm going to mount it, and pipes and stuff like that. So I think that's the first plan. I think that's what I'll go with. So try and get the tank where I need it.
We couldn't decide what to do with the seat, and there was a lot of deliberation. We thought a seat from a Suzuki DRZ might fit and give us that motocross look, so we got hold of one from our awesome channel sponsors, Seat Concepts. They make these high quality handcrafted seats in the USA and ship them worldwide. Unfortunately for this project though, our plan with the DRZ seat wasn't going to work. But I couldn't recommend Seat Concepts highly enough if you're looking for a saddle to really finish off your build. They have seats for motocross bikes, enduro bikes and adventure bikes.
Right.
If you infill that, are you going to touch the ground with your little legs?
That's what it's on.
No, I just mean, you said there's a lot of
Yeah, but it's not going to be,
yeah.
Time really isn't on our side, so Sean and Dad had to make a decision right there and then, and they decided to go the route of modifying the stock seat.
So now we've decided we're going to run that tank and that seat. The next sort of issue I've got really is where the outlet comes. It's very, very close to the top of the engine. So we've got to be careful what we do here to try and get that to miss rubbing on anything. But on the plus side, because we're running this seat and we got that, if anybody fancies a backie around Weston, like, do you know what I mean? I've got the foot pegs. If you fancy having a come round, tour, we could give it a go, couldn't we? I'll tell you what, I'll take you, Phil. Yeah. How about that? Yeah. These bad boys, slip ties, bricklayer slip ties, and they're awesome for making brackets and stuff. I'm going to weld that in there and mount that there. OCD's kicking in, I've got to have 2 bolts that match. Take the plunge. I'm fettling, just tidying up the edge of the tank, because when these are pressed, sometimes you get some sharp corners on there. I'll just dress that one up and a few around the front. Yeah, so I've tacked these brackets in place. That's what's going to hold the tank at the front. A little bit of a rubber mount there, so it's not solid. You know, I mean, you want a bit of vibration, well, to take up the vibration. So then I'm going to weld these up. The tank's never had any fuel in it, so it's perfectly safe to give it a weld. I have in the past thought I'd get away with welding one of these tanks with some fuel in it, and it did explode. You can get you with this hot tip. So just got a slight issue where the outlet is like really long, because we've had to, well, Phil had to go and get a different outlet because the one we got sent was wrong. Cut down, there's a lot of thread on the outlet of this tank, so I might just cut that down so this can then sit a little bit further up. Cut a bit off there so it's further up, just so we can get the pipe on it and try and get a bit of clearance. Oh, I'm scared. If this don't work, I'm blaming you, Phil. I'm just going to get a disc cutter. Let's disc cut it. This is hard work. You don't have to film it all, you know. You can just do a beginning and an end. I think we'll be here a while. I don't think they just want to see me sawing this for like the next 20 minutes.
How many minutes later?
It's about half hour. Just hope we ain't took too much off. This is precise engineering. Yeah, it is, look. I mean, look at that. You couldn't have cut that any better with a hacksaw. Look at that. That was sheer luck. That, honestly. So still got this issue of the pipe just catching the top of the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to do some technical precision reshaping. I'm going to get a socket on here. And I'm going to tweak it a little bit. Try to. I could use a bit of heat on there, but I think it goes without any heat. Just to bring that back a bit. Producer Phil's health and safety has just kicked in, and I wouldn't recommend doing any kind of heat work on a tank that's ever had fuel in it whatsoever, because you could end up with a whole heap of problems. I just hope it don't leak. I know. That's much better, isn't it? Like that bit of brute force, isn't it? What do you reckon? So the next job is sort out the fuel filler cap, because this is what it come with. Obviously this is for a road bike, made for, you know, whatever you want to put it on. What they've got there is fine, but what we're going to use it for is competition. That will leak. The last thing especially at Weston, this bike's going to be upside down in all sorts of positions. So I don't want fuel leaking out, because you'll probably see a time bomb or up in flames. So I've got this, sort of quick release cap that I'm now going to fit in. It's locking, it's tight, it seals. Now I've got to cut a hole in the tank to get it in. If I'm honest, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just going to wing it. But it will look good when it's done, and it will work, and it will be functional. I'm going to mark the tank with that. That's just a rough guide. But it's not far out, to be fair, is it, from the original? Trim all that up. That fits in there, so that means that's going to fit in there.
No lasers needed for cutting here.
What are you on about? That's laser precision engineering. Look at that. Do you know what I mean? Mate, I'm old school. Do you know what I mean? I ain't into all these like fancy tools and stuff like that. You just get the job done. Simple. I mean, look at the size of that. You got all that room to play with to cover that up. No one would ever know. Look at that. All we need is an angle grinder. That's it. So now I'm going to try and get some fixings in there, get it fixed, get some of that free bond, bond it up. And I think that's it, mate. I think we can crack on with the next bit. Went quite good now. Right, as you can see now, the tank's mounted, fuel caps on, sealed. Next thing I'm going to do is fuel lines, pump, filter, and then see if it starts. And let's see what happens. But I'm quite pleased with that. It's worked out pretty well. So we just fitted the fuel pump and the filter and wired it up and see. Gonna see if it works. I mean, you can hear the pump running. So I'm going to put some fuel in it and see what happens basically. Let's see if it builds pressure, and then if it does, hit the button. I'm going to neaten this up, but fuel filter, pump. This pump's like, the only one I could get that was 12 volt is for a car, so the outlet is like a 12 mil, it's big. So I've had to use big pipe. I mean, it's just a bit of a mock-up just to make sure that what we've done works, because if it don't, we ain't got a plan B. As simple as that, there's no plan B, so it's got to work. Let's get some fuel in it and then see what happens. It's gurgling, so it's going somewhere. Is that pressured up? I haven't seen any fuel come through that pipe, have you? I don't know, I can't feel anything through there. Clutching at straws. I'm clutching at straws. I don't know, I can't see any fuel coming through that pipe, so I'm just swapping the wires over because it might be running backwards. There's no instructions with this pump, so I don't know, but you would have thought, what's going on? You would have thought that it's got a big terminal and a small terminal, and I was guessing the big terminal would be the positive and the small one be the negative, but I don't know, should we try it this way? Oh, yeah, would you believe it? That's the most craziest thing ever, isn't it? Look, it's got a big terminal there, big, and a small one. Now, the logic would be the big terminal would be the positive, but obviously not. It's the negative. So now, is it the moment of truth? Whoa, that's expanding, isn't it? I don't think that's high pressure pipe, is it? Look how that's swelled up.
Yeah, it's fuel pipe, but I don't know it's high
yeah,
pressure
but it's
pipe.
not high pressure, so that ain't going to be no good, is it?
Okay.
Yeah, you're an idiot. I don't think it's high pressure pipe, mate. I mean, this is high pressure pipe. I think we're going to have to replace it with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you just seen, the fill came with this, and it's not a high pressure hose pipe, fuel pipes, and you see it swelled up, then it blew off. So now put some high pressure stuff on. Obviously, again, I'll neaten all that up. I'm going to switch it on, make sure it holds its pressure. Why is it not working? Oh, there you go. So that's now up to pressure. And I'm going to just fire the button and just see what happens.
And you know there's no exhaust on there, right?
Yeah, but I'll get ready on the key just in case. There you go. Magic. Perfect.
So that's day 3 in the workshop coming to a close. And yet again, another week has passed before we could get back in the workshop with the cameras. But that doesn't mean Sean hasn't been busy. There's lots of work to do today as the beach race fast approaches. We really need to get this build finished now. But before we get started, let's see what Sean has been up to. The bike's under a dust cover, so that says to me that some good progress has been made. So let's have a look. Look at that. It doesn't look like a Hemi anymore. The rule was it needs to look like a motocross bike. We never said what era of motocross bike, did we? So once we got the dust covers off, Sean was showing me his handiwork and what he's been doing away from camera.
And then we move on to the seat.
Yeah,
So
I feel like this is your crowning achievement, isn't it?
The seat was for me, it was the biggest headache because I knew what I wanted to do, but didn't know how to do it. I've lowered seats before on a motocross bike, which is quite easy. It wasn't for me, it's for my daughter. I basically stripped off the foam, what was there. The seat was in two parts, as we know, like a king queen seat. Yeah. And I fixed it together to make it one solid base and then put the foam on it, filled this in with some more foam over the top. My first attempt, you'll probably see the bit of the video I'd done, was, it weren't good. And I just thought, it'd be all right. But then I got home and I was like, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I got to do that again. Yeah, just stapled it, stretched it over, a bit of a heat gun, stretched it over, and got it looking like that. Which it looks great, that. Yeah. I mean, you would have paid a lot of money to have a seat done like that. I think the materials cost like £35, and it's got the look that we're after. Yeah. So
and then
super pleased.
Mud guards.
Yeah, just generic. Little stubby mud guards. There's not a lot you could do with it. We tried a few things and it had just been so hard, and the last thing I wanted was something like, a chop shop.
All going well today. This will be our final push in the workshop. Our goal is to have this bike finished at the end of this video, and today it's all about the engine work.
So the stop locks, this is, if you look, it hits the tank. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to probably get a bolt and weld it in here and then just cut it off so it hits. So basically just extending the stop lock so it don't hit the tank. Yeah, so just stuff like that. Number boards, get them on, get them fabricated up, get them on.
This is day 4. Yeah, it's day 4, isn't it? So you've turned a Himalayan into this.
Yeah, in 4 days.
In 4 days.
I know. 3 days.
3 days, yeah,
3 days. So it's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. You must be.
You can say so yourself.
Yeah.
No, mate, do you know what I mean? Anybody that builds bikes out there will appreciate that. They'll understand. Do you know what I mean? This is the 2 bolt.
What have you done?
Look, do you want to have a look?
So you've just seen how deep the recess was in the engine with you.
Yeah, I just it's because it's got oil on it and it slipped and the gloves didn't have no grip.
Yeah. Thank goodness for magnets.
Yeah.
So we're at the stage, we're going to fit the high performance cam, the Tech high performance cam that we got from Matthew at Tech Bike Parts. Sean's in the process of doing that now, so I'll let Sean tell us what the difference between the standard cam and the high performance cam is and what gains that should give us. Right?
Yeah.
Go for it, boss.
So there's 2 differences. Obviously, this is the stock cam and it's got an automatic decompressor on it, constructed in it, but the high performance cam doesn't, which is odd, but hey, it obviously works. Yeah, the main difference anyway in the performance is the lobes, like the height of the lobes. These are like much bigger, which means it holds the valves open longer, inlet and exhaust, which then in total basically gives you more performance, like because you're getting more mixture going in, and obviously if you've got more mixture going in, it needs to get out, and hence why the exhaust is big as well. So let's get it fitted and see what happens. So as you can see now, it's all back together. Got high performance cam in, so that's all done. It's all timed up. Valve clearance is done, or tappets on this thing, but all back together. So now I'm going to do the clutch.
So Sean's just changing the clutch now. This is probably one of the cheapest upgrades we're going to do, but one of the most important. In the comments in the first video, you guys said that the clutch springs just weren't really up to the job, especially for what we're going to be doing with the bike racing at the beach. So you suggested to get these stronger clutch springs. So that's what we've done, and they're pretty cheap. What do you say, £2.86 per spring? So pretty cheap, but we've also got a brand new clutch as well. We might as well do it while we're changing these.
Woo! I wasn't expecting that.
This build wouldn't have been possible without the support of our awesome channel sponsors, Pewterline Motorcycle Oils. Here you see Sean filling up the bike with some engine oil. We're using 15W50 N-Tech Pro R+ here. And if you're unsure what oil you should be using for your machine, go over to the Pewterline website, type in your bike model, and they'll bring up all of the products they recommend you need for your machine. As always, a huge thank you goes to Pewterline Motorcycle Oils. In the comments of the last video, you guys said that we should definitely get rid of the pillion foot pegs to save some weight. So let's get chopping. This is the final push now. There's only a few more items to bolt on to the build, starting with the exhaust pipe here. We've got a new front and rear pipe, and that's on the bike now. Next up, we've got new levers. These are levers from Tech Bike Parts, front brake lever and clutch lever going on the bike. And the final job today is to get the Fuel X Pro installed on the bike to get the machine fueled correctly for the modifications we've made. It has been a long few days in the workshop, but the build is really coming together now. I'd say we're pretty much ready to head to the track for the first real startup. It's been a long road to turn our Himi into a race-ready machine, and there's been even more drama and challenges in the workshop since we was last there with the camera, but I'll fill you in on that in the next episode. The eagle-eyed amongst you might even spot what's changed. For now though, let me introduce you to our Western weapon that we've named the Silver Surfer. Episode, we will explain those last minute dramas in the workshop, and we will see the bike in action. For now though, let's fire the Silver Surfer into life for the first time.